Philly has like the toughest. Um, but in general, it's just those are the things that matter. But what are your thoughts in general? Do you think that we can make the playoffs? Are you looking more at the play in? What are your thoughts in general on the Lakers?
Um, I think that, well, first of all, kind of starting going back a little bit about the game. Yeah, it was good to see, and I know it's one game, but I think kind of like how we were talking about on the other stream, I think D'Lo has like officially like he. I think it's safe to say he's really solidified himself as the third option. I don't really think there's going to be a question as okay, like who's the third guy on this team. I think it's going to kind of be obvious. He's going to be the third scoring option behind like LeBron and AD. And at this point, I think it actually goes. We don't necessarily have to rank them, but I feel like it's at this point AD, LeBron, then D'Lo. I mean, I don't know. It was a beautiful thing to see. I like what I saw from Vanderbilt more so off the ball than anything else. Chasing down blocks, things like that. Like all those things kind of stood out. What I don't want to see though is like, and by all means, I don't think he is. He's just fairly recently coming back, but like I don't want to see like AR take a back seat or anything like that. I don't think that's where he belongs. I think he definitely, belongs like right there in the front of the spotlight. But Dennis Schroeder did his thing. Troy Brown was in there. But no, I love the game. The game was, like I said, the game was awesome to see. I think going into the second half of the season, I think that is where we turn it around. This is going to be our best half of the season. I think we're gonna actually shock a lot of people. I think we make it into the play-in. I feel like we get into like a tough play-in match, and we'll pass the play-in and get to. Now that we're towards the half end of the season, I'm going to actually make a solid prediction, and I feel like I'm going to be very, very right in this. We're gonna get to the second round of the playoffs, and I'm not saying that's all we're gonna go. We're gonna at least get to the second round. Um, that is my prediction, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, no, I think we get to the play in, get to playoffs, and potentially advance from there. But I'm like, actually excited to see, because the thing is, after the All-Star break and everything, they have more time to gel. And with those easier teams, it'll be more, I guess, beneficial for Ham to kind of really like solidify the lineup. All right, who's starting where, who's going to get their minutes here, and give him some time to really like lock it in before playoffs. Because if he's still trying to like move around in rotation and we're about to get closer to the play in or whatever, I think that's going to be bad. So I think like, I think it really comes down to like where Ham wants to play everybody and kind of getting everybody situated. I think our chances look bright. Like I said, I'm not worried about the West Coast. I'm worried about the East Coast. Is what I'm worried about. I don't, like I said, I'm worried about like, hey, if we get to the finals, we got to play some of the crazy talent over there. But I'm not. I think personally, and yes, this is a big statement, but just watching this team play, and I get it. It's one game. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. But after watching this team play, it's not just one game, but this is the game that stood out to me. I think we have a chance at least getting to the Western Conference. Like it's a stretch, but I don't know if you would agree. Could you see this team actually getting to like the Western
I mean, if
Conference?
we get so like we have a very uphill battle to climb, right? And the concern is basically killing ourselves to get into that position, right?
Yeah,
But if we could have more games like the Pelican game, where LeBron and AD only have to play 30 minutes, and they're primed, and everybody's basically playing 20 minutes, then that's great. Like if we can do that, I mean, you're going to have a game here and there, a tough matchup, whatever. Play the Clippers, right? You're probably that game. You're probably going to have to play LeBron 40 minutes, right? It's just how it goes. But
yeah,
for the most part, we have 23 games left. If we can win, if we win like 15 to 16 of those games, then I think we're the seventh or eighth seed, very likely. If we can get to like 18 to 20, I wouldn't be surprised if we're the sixth seed. Problem is that's a lot to ask, right? Because that means they'd essentially have to go like 18-5 or 20-3 the
yeah.
rest of the way. If you look at the roster, it's not impossible, but it's just very unlikely. Guys are going to have bad nights. This is a brand new team that just got put together. a lot of factors to take in place. I still believe if the Lakers get into the playoffs, you still have LeBron James, you still have Anthony Davis. You're still the only team that has 2 top 10 guys. You have depth, you have defense, you have shooting, you have everything you need to be a successful team and have the formula. There are no juggernauts this year. I know a lot of people feel like the Suns might be, but one, we haven't even seen the Suns play yet.
I was gonna say we need to actually see it before we make that like that.
There's been lots of teams. Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of teams that have been put together, and I mean, if I told you if a year ago, or well, not a year ago, let's say 5 years ago, if 5 years ago I told you James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant were on the same team, and they didn't win a championship, you would tell me I'm crazy. that they didn't last more than a season and a half.
Well,
you would tell me I'm crazy.
And that's in the early days when they were still fresh in the league too.
No, but I'm talking about even like 2 years ago, like even the year before that. If I said Kyrie and KD are going to add,
you said Kyrie,
and they're going to, I'm not talking about like, no, I'm talking about like now. There's no
way.
I
thought you were saying like Russ and KD and like Harden and like. I see what you're saying, but still, even the big three that were, in Brooklyn. But the reason that's scary, but Phoenix right now, though, the reason it's scary and concerning right now is because of who it is and the maturity and the veteranship that comes with the two. I think, Chris Paul has never won a chip, but it's still Chris Paul. He still has the experience. It looks like a team.
Yes, the pieces look better, but my point is that everyone. My point is that everyone was, as always, I mean, the Lakers have several experiments like that, right? Everyone's always so quick. Oh, they got this team, they're going to win. And they look at the paper, right? And yes, on paper, they look very good. But is Chris Paul going to be able to hold up? Is Devin Booker going to be able to hold up? Is Kevin Durant going to be able to hold up? Who's guarding the other team? Yes, you're going to score 130 points, but can you stop a team from scoring 132 and you lose, right? Yeah. Like, is Devin Booker going to show up in the playoffs? We've seen a lot of games where he just disappears and he's not even a player. DeAndre Ayton, is he going to start throwing a tantrum and start pouting because he goes from getting X amount of touches and being a key part to the roster to now he's irrelevant and now the fourth guy? Like, there's so many things. How are these guys going to hold up in the long stretch? They don't have any bench. They don't have depth. They don't have defense. There's a lot of things on paper. On the surface, they look terrifying. On the surface, you look at them and you go, man, how do you stop them? But against the Lakers, who's going to stop LeBron James from just walking to the basket every possession?
Yeah.
Who's going to stop Anthony Davis from going off for 40 against the Suns like he does every time he plays them?
Yeah.
DeAndre Ayton gets eaten alive every time. And now the Lakers have shooting. They have a much better defense. If it comes down to a stop, comes down to like, we need one stop, either Phoenix has to get the stop or the Lakers.